Alright, before I get into this whole Golem Eye thing, actually I want to kind of check out Solitude a little bit. There's a bunch of stuff to do here, like any other city in Skyrim. Go take care of some stuff. But I will talk to the Slick Lizard real quick. Go ahead and get this started. And while we're running errands, maybe we can do a few other things along the way.
So, what do we have here? Let me guess. By your scent, I'd say you were from the guild. But that can't be true, because I told Mercer I wouldn't deal with them anymore. I don't deal in land or property. Now, if you're looking for goods, you've come to the right person. Oh, wait. Did you say Golden Glow Estate? My apologies. I'm sorry to say I know very little about that, bee farm, was it? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I can't be expected to remember every deal I handle. I don't care what you promise. If I tell you the buyer's name and word gets around, it could ruin me. Hasn't Mercer Frey taught you people anything? You kill me, and your only contact with the East Empire Company vanishes. That's not smart for business. Well, now that you mention it, there is something I've been trying to get my hands on. I have a buyer looking for a case of Firebrand wine. There just so happens to be a single case in the Blue Palace. Bring it to me, and we'll talk about Golden Glow Estate.
Alright, well, he couldn't be persuaded or intimidated, but sure could be bought pretty cheap. Go just grab him a case of wine and that's it, huh? Alright, well, he'll fear for his life, but he'll sure take a case of wine. Actually, the reward for the case of wine, I think, is something I'd do anyway. Yeah, sounds good to me.
War follows a man until it's done.
Why, hello. Here to buy. If you have to ask the price, you might be in the wrong store. It's not an insult, just an observation. If I were walking around with a wound, I would want you to tell me to see a doctor. Your outfit is something of an open wound, where attire is concerned. Nothing at all. It's very nice. If you want something with a little more style, however, you should see what we have available. You're really going to the Blue Palace? That presents an opportunity. If you are willing to wear one of Radiant Raymond's outfits and speak to the Jarl, I would not only pay you, but let you keep the outfit. Good. Here's the outfit. Try to get Elisif's opinion on it, and if she likes it, mention it's from Radiant Raymond. Thank you for your patronage.
Alright, I can do that along the way. I was going to go talk to the Jarl here anyway, or I guess what passes for the Jarl. Because she's calling herself the Queen, or I don't really know. Her leadership is in flux right now. The lady sitting on the throne here in Solitude, her husband was the one murdered by Ulfric. Not murdered, actually dueled. Now, I don't know, there's a bit of an unfair advantage when Ulfric just shouted him into pieces, apparently. But whatever. Challenges leadership of Skyrim, rightfully so. The guy was willingly selling out to the Imperials. There we go. Free skill book. Just thought I'd step in and grab that. When I first got here, before starting the video, I did run around and buy and sell some stuff just to unload inventory and so on and so forth. And I did talk to this lady in the alchemy shop, and she asked me to get word of her daughter, and I have to talk to this guy for that.
Generally, posting information is need to know only. I've been trying to find the time and place to let her know. The daughter was sent to Whiterun. The skirmishes there have been violent. The Whiterun legate, he needed to know the Stormcloak positions. He sent out a party to scout the area. They happened upon a large force. I'm told none of them made it back. Private Morard, Angela's daughter, was in that scouting party. She needs to be told. Need something? Their aim could be steadier, but they're battle ready. Can any man hope to be ready for a dragon? I can but hone their skills and harden their hearts. The rest is up to the gods. That I am. Train the recruits. Turn boys into men. That sort of thing. Thinking of asking the general for some training books. Give the soldiers something to do while they're on rest. Something besides drinking. Ever seen a book called The Mirror? We used to hand it out to boys looking to learn basic shield work. Good on you.
I'm not worried about you training
Good.
your Imperial
I'll see if I can get
recruits.
some copies made for the men. Here, something for your trouble. The Legion thanks you.
Yeah, that's why I hung on to one of those copies of the Mirror and didn't put it in my bookshelf so I
My men in
could
your
give it to
prayers.
this guy for
They'll
gold.
need it if
But
they don't shape up.
no, he can train his recruits all as one. I'm gonna kill him anyway. They're garbage. Fully trained Imperials are garbage to me. They're all trash. So, alright, and that poor lady's daughter, well, she chose the wrong side and died for it. Been better had she at least died for the right side, but she decided to sell out. What a shame. And this guy being a Nord training Imperial recruits. But it's just, some people are confused. I know in an ideal world, at least in a lot of people's minds, everybody should be right, quote unquote. Nobody's feelings should ever be heard or whatever. But there is a wrong side, and there is a right side. And some aren't just so black and white. Sometimes there are gray areas. The right side can, you know, have some individuals that do wrong things, but overall the principle is right. The need for them to succeed is right. And then you have others like, you look at, for example, Nazi Germany, perfect example. Were all the Germans bad? No. I mean, you can hate Hitler and you can hate the Nazis and a lot of what they did, but look at, for example, their, what was his name? Their tank commander, for example. The Nazis' most famous tank commander, Rommel. He was a military genius, and he actually committed suicide after the war, from what I understand, due to the actions of his leaders and his people during the course of his service. But while he was in action, but would he be considered a Nazi? Yeah. Was he a bad guy? He seemed like an honorable military man to me. So, you know, he fought for his country, like anyone would. So, just for example, lumping everybody up in one sum based on who they're associated with is not always wise. But you can take what they're associated with and label it as good or bad and call it for what it is.
Yes, of course, you were right. Falk, tell Captain Aldous I said to assign a few extra soldiers to Dragonbridge.
Thank you, Jarl Elisif. What about the cave?
I will have someone take care of the cave as well, Varnius. You can rest easy. You're dismissed. Do you have business with the court? That remains to be seen. By rights, she has a legitimate claim as High Queen of Skyrim. But we must have the support of the other Jarls for that claim to have any meaning. Should they accept her rule, we will have peace. You mean the Dragonbridge issue? I'll be honest with you, I was planning to let that go. Varnius is a bit jumpy at the best of times. There have been reports of weird happenings near Wolfskull Cave. Travelers disappearing, odd lights. I suspect wild animals, or perhaps bandits. I don't think it's worth our time with the war going on. But if you want to clear out the cave, I'll make sure you're repaid for your work. The cave has a bad history. Long ago, Potema the Wolf Queen used it for necromantic rituals. That's where it got the name. That was over 500 years ago. Nothing much down there now, but everyone's always convinced the cave is haunted. Feel free to return to me with questions. The Blue Palace is an open forum.
Be quick. I have little patience for mundane concerns. If I needed something from you, you would know it. Nothing. I'm busy, and I don't like being bothered unless I'm expecting something from you. Oh, don't give me that look. Fine, I suppose I can find some menial task to set your mind on. We have something of a vampire problem. Bodies have been found with blood drained. I know of a den nearby you can wipe out as a precaution. I don't expect you to be capable of even that.
Jeez. Oh, another quest getting started.
To my shame. The whole court was in attendance. I've seen much in my time, but that was a gruesome day. Because Ulfric needed a symbol. Someone he could defeat that represented the Empire. The White Gold Concordat, the banning of Talos worship. Toryg's father Islot had held Skyrim together for nearly 25 years. When he died, Toryg became that symbol. No, even after Islot died, the Moot voted to make Toryg High King of Skyrim. But Ulfric was at that Moot, continually talking about Skyrim's independence in terms just shy of treason. I don't think Ulfric knew how much Toryg respected him for that. If Ulfric had asked Toryg directly to stand up, to declare independence, Toryg might have done it. Because the Dominion is a sleeping beast that Skyrim cannot slay alone. Because many Nords are part of the Imperial Army even now. Because the food and resources we get from the Empire are important to our people. Because even if we can't openly worship him, Talos the God was once Tiber Septim the man, and this is his empire. And Toryg wasn't ready to let it fall apart. Vampires are clever hunters.
Well, you might save a dying horse, but you're not going to save a dead horse. Talk about those arguments here in a second.
It's quite fetching, actually. The craftsmanship is excellent. Oh, really? Well, you can tell them that I will be putting in a request for a few dresses quite soon. A question I am all too familiar with. One my very Thanes ask often. They worry that Tullius is so focused on the war that he risks forgetting what's best for our people. The real irony is that, while General Tullius is certainly no Nord, the people of Skyrim would be lost without him.
Oh, that means you're already a tool beyond salvation.
Especially for my people. Yet we must trust in Tullius's leadership. For what other choice do we have?
She's totally brainwashed, wow.
Be well.
Okay, poor thing.
Solitude and my
Yep.
husband.
To be young and misguided. What a shame. Alright, so that whole, well, we depend on the Empire for their resources. Well, I'll tell you what, the East Empire Company, what does Skyrim have to offer? Besides the Dwarven relics, which are worth more than their weight in gold, that they can export, right? Having all these Dwarven ruins and stuff to excavate here. Alright, besides the raw mineral ore and the timber, alright? And the other things available in Skyrim that can be exported and trade, the things that can't be found elsewhere in Cyrodiil. But when that is held in a stranglehold by the Empire, to where they give them 25 cents, 10 cents on the dollar for their export goods, and then make them reliant on imports to keep them economically enslaved, all right? Then that kind of skews that argument, okay? And when that interest is even further governed by the Thalmor, who now essentially run the Empire from afar, then that's even more skewed. Okay, so sure, Skyrim is hamstrung like that. More reason to get rid of the Empire, not embrace them. All right, once fair trade can be established and Skyrim is independent, and if you want our stuff, you'll pay us for it. If we want your stuff, we'll pay you a fair price for it. You're not going to come here and run our economy. Okay, so that needs to be put in light, and that whole argument is just shit on. All right, and as far as Ulfric taking it to the guy instead of having more talk, well, I get it. You know, was it right? Was it wrong? I don't know. It served its purpose. And if one guy had to go for the better good, well, you know, sorry. But you're not going to have a tool for the Empire and hope to persuade him at the expense of spending more time talking, right? While your countrymen are further enslaved by outside influence, such as the Thalmor, by means of the Empire. So yeah, you just shout that dude to pieces and get down to business.
Welcome to the Bard's College.
Screw the small talk.
I'm the headmaster here. How may I help you? Always a pleasure to meet a prospective bard. You should be aware that many apply, but we accept very few people. When possible, we ask applicants to perform tasks the college needs completed. in this case, I do have a task befitting an aspiring bard. Elisif has forbidden the burning of King Olaf, a festival put on by the Bard's College. We need to change her mind. To convince her, I want to read King Olaf's verse, a part of the Poetic Edda, the living history of Skyrim. Unfortunately, the verse was lost long ago. Yes, according to Giraud, our history's keeper, the portion of the Edda dealing with King Olaf might still exist in Dead Man's Respite. I need you to retrieve the poem. I think Giraud here would give you the best explanation of both it and the history of King Olaf's verse. You should speak to him about it. I wish you luck in finding the verse.
I will if I can find him around here. You know, I'll be still wandering around. It's a pretty big place, actually. This isn't too much different in design from the house you can buy here. Actually. Ironically, as much as annoying as bards are to me, I'm actually going to be one, and I'll tell you guys why in a second.
He's sending you after King Olaf's verse, then. That's good. We shouldn't leave it lying around now that I figured out where it is. The verse was Svafnir's contribution to the Poetic Edda, the living history of Skyrim. Each bard adds to the Edda in his or her time. And a very ancient one. The verse criticized the reigning King Olaf. He was so incensed the bard was put to death and all the copies burned. At least, that's what we thought until I translated some ancient texts a year or so ago. We now believe King Olaf buried the truth with the bard. If I'm right, Svafnir and King Olaf's verse lie in Dead Men's Respite, along with the burial chamber of King Olaf himself. Be careful. You might find more than just King Olaf's verse in Dead Man's Respite.
Yeah, when you join the bards, it's actually, once you get their little verse back and you do the whole, you know, restoring their burning of the effigy or whatever they do anyway, there's some little thing involved, and they do their whole bard thing, you can get sent on these little quests to go retrieve some random items. I mean, it's like a drum, a lute, and a flute or something. Anyway, each one you bring back gets you a skill point in every single one of your skills. Or the skills in a particular class. Like you'll get 1 point towards all your magic skills from one, and then 1 point towards all your thief type skills in another, and then 1 towards all your warrior skills, right? So essentially, it's like the Augma Infinium almost, doing these stupid little quests for these. In fact, it's easier than the actual Augma Infinium, because essentially all you have to do is just go on a couple fetch 'em quests. And so it's like really, really worth it. What is that? What does that come out to? 18, 21 skill points, you know? Just for going and grabbing a few items, not to mention the loot you grab along the way, because usually they send you to like bandit caves or something like that. Just some trivial little tasks. So, yeah, I absolutely do that. Plus there's loot to be had just going and getting the verse.
Oh, what delight. Oh, let me just drop everything to help you.
Okay.
It is when my customers waste time chatting and not buying. Radiant Raiment has the finest attire in all of Skyrim. That is how we get business. Finally.
Absolutely. Yeah, like you don't chase away customers with that that attitude. That's funny. All right, it's nighttime. Let me see if I can go find this lady. Just go tell her that I showed the queen her dress or whatever. Get some gold for that. I think this counts as a favor, quote unquote, towards the people of Solitude, so you can buy a house later. And actually, you can even run a favor for the queen herself, and ironically, it's to take...
If you ever want to replace the...
Oops.
That's wonderful. You've done us a great service. As promised, the outfit is yours, and here's something for your trouble.
Yeah, the favor you run for the queen is to take some offering to a shrine of Talos for her dead husband. So,
Make it quick.
showing that maybe, perhaps, he might have made a deal with King Torrid. Ulfric may have actually been able to reason with him. Don't know. But then again, what's his face? The Jarl in Whiterun still believes in Talos, and he's a sellout to the Empire. So there you have it.
You wouldn't have happened to come from Whiterun, would you? You got Aldous to tell you something. I knew you would. What did he say? I told her. I told her the Imperial army would kill her. That this was a war of Jarls and Imperial generals, and we had no part in it. She just wouldn't hear it. It was brave of you to come to me with this. I can't thank you for it, not for this. But you have done me a service.
Yeah, maybe that counts as a favor, too. No one wants to tell someone their child. Yeah, it's just messed up all the way around, regardless of the circumstances. That's not cool there. But anyway, you see later, for those of you familiar with the storyline, what Ulfric gets for trying to deal with Jarl Balgruuf in Whiterun. You know, when he tries to reason with him, and he's a person supposedly still faithful to Talos, but he's accepted the Imperial's blood money, Judas money. So
take my advice. Never too many drinking games.
I doubt he could have dealt with Torg either. He wasn't going to take the time or the chance, just shout him to pieces and move on.
He's a stubborn oaf. I don't know what good it'll do. You should speak to my daughter, Yvette. She's the brains of the family.
Okay, now, I think if you go settle this guy's little gambling debt or whatever with that dude, he gives you like a skill point or something. We'll go find him later. We'll probably run across him in town at some point in the game, and it's fine. I'm not gonna go knock on his door in the middle of the night or break in just to tell him the news.
Ah, I see you have the wine. Hand it over, and we'll talk. Good. Can't have the buyer getting impatient and looking elsewhere for this, can we? Here, take this. I certainly can't use it, but I suppose I need to pay you something for the goods. Not at all. I consider it an investment in prolonging my life. As far as Golden Glow Estate goes, I'll tell you what I know. I was approached by a woman who wanted me to act as the broker for something big. She flashed a bag of gold in my face and said all I had to do was pay Errangoth for the estate. I brought in the coin and walked away with her copy of the deed. Not at all. I tend not to ask too many questions when I'm on the job. I'm sure you understand. However, I did notice she was quite angry, and it was being directed at Mercer Frey. In this business, we rarely deal in names. Our identity comes from how much coin we carry. Look, that's all I know. I never promised you I'd have all the answers. Now, since our transaction is done, I'll be on my way.
Alright, so the whole deal with him was to find the name of the buyer. And we still can't seem to worm that out of him, so we're gonna have to follow him to wherever he's going and see if we can't intimidate him a little bit more. Whatever it takes. Alright, see where he's at. And he is not leaving for some reason. Oh, that's interesting. He's glitched up on the wall. And there you go, get down from there. So he was trying to take a peek to see if the coast was clear or something. Alright, dude.
Why are you following me?
Huh?
I told you, I don't know anything else.
Alright, just go. Alright, we'll catch up with him in the next one. Alright, so we got some errands started and a few quests to go do later, and we'll get on to those some point. But on the next one, I think we're going to go ahead and follow this dude and see what secrets he's hiding. Alright, thanks for watching. You want to subscribe, click that button up top if you haven't already. And if you want to catch the rest of this Let's Play up to this point, that image there in the middle, if you click on it, should take you right to the playlist. Alright, y'all take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.